Hey, welcome out to our CG guide for week 3 of Mastermind. We hope this has been great for you and your group. This week we talked about the necessity, the need for godly community. And if you've ever felt alone or you've ever had to walk through a tough stretch of life, you know just how truly valuable it is to have friends that walk that leg of the journey with you. We talked about how it's not right, it's not good for man to be alone. If you've ever experienced loneliness, it's not because you're broken, but it's actually because you're made to be like God. It says in Genesis chapter 2, it's not good for man to be alone. And when God made us, he made us in the image of himself. And God, if you know anything about him, is a triune God. He's part of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And from the beginning of time, they've had community with one another. And so friendship, love, has always been a part of the equation. Adam, if you remember, was alone in the garden, and it wasn't good. And God said, I need to create for him a helper. You were made to live in community. And so I want to take this time right now, with you and your group, to introduce a question. Why is it so easy to live alone? Why is it so easy to take the path that's just leads to the silo where you can hole up and just do things on your own? Why is it so easy? Why don't you take some time right now as a group to talk about just why it's so easy to slip into loneliness and doing things on your own. And then once you guys get back, think a little bit about this. We talked about this on Sunday, just how important it is to not just have any kind of community around you, but to have a truly godly community. Friends that are in your inner circle that are chasing after the right things, chasing after godly things, chasing after righteous things. It's really hard to run the opposite direction of God when your circle, your inner circle, is pulling you towards Jesus. Why don't you take some time right now as your group to talk a little bit about what the criteria is to get into your inner circle. What is it that you're looking for in a best friend? What is it that you're looking for in a spouse? Somebody that's going to walk beside you in the toughest seasons. Take some time now as a group to talk about that. And then finally, stop me if you've heard this before, but what's the criteria for you to cut out people of your life? We also talked at the tail end of the message about how important it is for you to not just have godly friendships, but for you to start to cut certain relationships out of your life, ones that are dragging you down, ones that are holding you back. Whereas it's really tough to run away from godly community when you're living in it and you've got an inner circle of people around you that are anchoring you to the gospel. It's really easy to be pulled down when your community around you doesn't have anything to do with Christ and his ways. So what is it that keeps you grounded in your friendships, and what's the criteria for you to start cutting people out of your life? Is it just every toxic relationship that comes along? Is it somebody that presses on certain things that you don't want to talk about? What is it that qualifies somebody to just kind of be cut out? Where do you draw the line? And as you guys wrap up as a group, I want you to think a little bit about how God wired you specifically as a CG. Take a look around at the faces in your group right now, and why don't you guys take some time to just thank God for bringing you guys together as a group. One of the beauties of our community groups is that you guys are doing this life thing together. So as you end, why don't you guys just say a prayer of thanksgiving for one another and pray for one another, your needs, the things you're going through, and what you want to see God do in your group and in your lives as an individual. Excited for what God is going to do with this series, and excited to see how all of this is going to play out in the days ahead. God bless you. We're glad you guys joined us for this one.